Hey guys, how we all doing? So I've got some Facebook exclusive content for you here. So each week what we're gonna do going forward is break down a particular exercise, and I wanna demonstrate the right way to do it, but also show you some of the wrong ways to do it. So I wanted to start today with a very basic one. It's just a curl. What I'm gonna demonstrate here is a cable curl specifically, but you can apply some of these concepts to any type of curl realistically. I'm gonna really zero in on specifically what I was doing here when I recorded this earlier today. So I'm gonna be a little low tech here. I'm gonna shift the camera position around so that we get a better look, and then I'm gonna zoom in here so that we can get a better look, see at what's going on. There we go. There's me looking like a doofus. So this is what I see that happens that's incorrect. So let me go ahead and play it here, and let's see if you can spot it here. So to play, there we go. So what you'll notice is it's a cable curl. I'm standing right up on it, and watch what my elbows do. So they kind of come forward a little bit. I'm gonna pause it at the top of a rep here, right there. So here's what I want you to take notice of. Now it's probably difficult to see in the video here, but the cable, it starts here and it comes right down here to the origination point at the pulley. So this is the line of the cable. Now look at the line of my forearm. It's right there. And if I put those two right on top of each other, cable, forearm, you can see they're pretty close to a straight line. That is an issue because what we have here, if we want to get really technical about it, this is an axial compressive load that's really going down on the elbow. So when your elbows come forward like that, I'm sorry, on the forearm. So when your elbows come forward like that, it's basically just a compressive force on your elbow, and you have the opportunity, if you're not paying attention, to lose all stress, all tension, and all contractile force on the bicep at the top of the rep when it should be squeezing the hardest. So the bicep almost gets like a little bit of a break in between each rep at the point where we really want it working the most. That is no good. So watch this, and you can see elbows back, elbows forward. So clearly what's going to be better is if we can get an angle here that is not quite such a straight line going down. So if I'm at the point of maximum contraction here, maximum elbow flexion, and the cable was pointing more out this way, great. That means maximum tension on the bicep when it's fully flexed. That is what we want. So let's look at the corrected version here that I recorded after this. If my computer's gonna cooperate and play it. Here we go. So you can see I take a step back and I'm keeping my elbows in more of a neutral position. So I'm not pushing them forward. I'm trying to keep them retracted a little bit. And so again, we can pause this at the top of a rep. Was that the top? There's the top, yeah. So you can see, here's the forearm, and here's the cable. So much closer to a 90-degree angle. That's what we're looking for. So I could have actually taken another step back. You could set the pulley a little bit higher as well. So that's the premise behind a hero curl, is you set the pulleys at shoulder height or a little bit higher, and then you can get down on your knees in between them. And then when you go in and you contract the bicep, it's fully flexed. They should be pulling straight out at close to a 90-degree angle from the forearm. So that's what we're looking for here, is when you've got that bicep contracted, the elbow is maximally flexed, and you can see I don't have a huge amount of elbow flexion. So that right there, that's about as high as I can get it up. So what we're looking for is at that point of max elbow flexion, the smallest angle that we can get out of the elbow, we want that cable or the force pulling it close to a 90-degree angle. It's a little bit less right there because my elbows come forward a little bit, so you can see that it's still not perfect, but it's much better, and the tension was much higher on this. It felt a lot more miserable in general, which is what we're going for. I always tell people that you want to make things about the hardest that you possibly can whenever you're trying to do an exercise. What your body will naturally want to do is find compensation, find ways to make a movement easier, and it should be your job as the lifter to identify that and fight it. And if you're working with a good coach, they should be able to help you identify those things as well. So next time you hit any kind of a curl, but especially a cable curl, keep that in mind. Now consider also your morphology may be different. You may get a much greater degree of elbow flexion. You might get your wrists much closer to your shoulder. So the angles and the particulars may change, but the same concept still applies. You want to make sure that whatever angle this gets at right here, that this is pulling out away from the body rather than straight down through the forearm and into the elbow.